Level 1. The runner. It starts with a package that weighs less than a kilogram and more than your future. The man across the table slides it toward you without touching it. Brown paper, clear tape, no labels. 2 hours, he says. No instructions, no threats. You already understand both. Outside, the air smells like diesel and hot pavement. A gray van idles across the street. The driver never looks at you. That's the first rule you learn. Nobody looks. You walk 3 blocks, left turn, a stairwell behind a restaurant that closed 5 years ago. The door upstairs opens before you knock. A woman takes the package. She counts the tape seams, not the contents. Then she hands you an envelope. Inside, $1,200 in small bills. You're 23 years old. You make more money in 20 minutes than your last job paid in 2 weeks. That's how it begins. The black market empire isn't a single organization. It's a living system, a web of smugglers, brokers, traffickers, counterfeiters, hackers, and silent investors. Nobody runs it, but everyone feeds it. At your level, you're called a runner. You move things: phones, cash, fake passports, microchips, jewelry that technically belongs in museums, sometimes small sealed containers you never open. You learn the rules quickly. Never carry a phone with names in it. Never run the same route twice in 1 week. Never ask what's inside. And never ever keep a package overnight. The work scales fast. 3 runs a week becomes 6. 6 becomes 10. Soon you're clearing $8,000 a month, none of it taxed, none of it traceable. Your bank account stays empty, but your closet fills with cash. You start to feel something dangerous: efficiency. You move through cities differently now. You see security cameras before you see people. You memorize blind spots. You recognize undercover cops by their shoes. The streets become a map, and you're getting good at reading it. Then, one night, a delivery goes wrong. You're halfway down an alley when 2 men step out of a black SUV. They don't show badges. They don't need to. You feel your pulse spike. The package suddenly weighs 1,000 pounds. But they walk past you. They're watching someone else. That's when you realize something important. You're invisible. At level 1, you're disposable, but you're also too small to notice. And that makes you valuable. 6 months later, someone finally asks your name. Not for a job, for a promotion. Level 2. The courier. The call comes at 2:13 a.m. Airport, Gate 12, 3 hours. You don't ask questions. By now you know the pattern. Runners move packages across streets. Couriers move them across borders. At the airport, a man in a tailored Navy suit hands you a passport with your picture. Different name, different nationality. Inside the boarding pass sleeve is a debit card. Limit $50,000. That's your operational budget. Level 2 introduces you to scale. You're not delivering envelopes anymore. Now you're moving inventory. Luxury watches leaving Dubai without customs declarations. Rare wildlife parts traveling from Africa into Asian collector markets. Designer drugs synthesized in Eastern Europe and shipped to nightclub districts in Berlin, London, Miami. The empire moves trillions of dollars every year. At level 2, you start to see pieces of it. You sit in airport lounges with people who look like executives but carry briefcases full of uncut diamonds. You learn which countries stamp passports without asking questions. You learn which customs officers accept envelopes instead of inspections. Money becomes fluid. Respect becomes currency. Your reputation spreads quietly. He's reliable. That phrase becomes your identity. You complete 12 international runs in a year. Each one pays between $10,000 and $40,000. You stop thinking of it as crime. It becomes logistics. but logistics have consequences. One night in Istanbul, a contact doesn't show up. Your phone buzzes once. New instructions. Burn the passport. You stand in a hotel bathroom watching a false identity curl into ash. That's the moment the truth settles in. Nobody in this system is permanent. You're a tool, an expensive one, but still replaceable. You don't sleep much after that. Instead, you start learning something new, the network itself. Because couriers eventually face a choice: keep running or start building.
Level 3. The broker. The first deal you arrange moves $3.6 million worth of stolen electronics through 3 countries in 4 days. You never touch a single box. That's the power of Level 3. Brokers don't move goods, they connect people. Your phone becomes your office. Encrypted apps, disposable numbers, voice calls routed through 5 countries. You sit in quiet cafes while millions of dollars shift around the world. A hacker group in Prague needs buyers for stolen cryptocurrency wallets. You know a laundering operation in Singapore. You introduce them. Your cut? 7%. $490,000 for a 10-minute conversation. This is where the system's real currency becomes clear: information. Who owes money? Who's under investigation? Which ports are tightening inspections? Which politicians just lost re-election and need cash? Every deal is leverage. You collect secrets like trophies. Soon people start coming to you: arms dealers, art thieves, human smugglers. The deals get darker. At first, you rationalize it. You're not responsible for the cargo, you're just facilitating transactions. Then, one night, a broker above you calls. A shipping container is stuck in Rotterdam. Customs wants documentation. Inside the container are 47 people. You fix the paperwork. You tell yourself they wanted to travel. You don't ask where they're going. After that, the money grows faster. $5 million, $10 million. Your apartment moves from rented lofts to private penthouses with elevator codes. But your contact list becomes dangerous. Every name on it could destroy you or save you. You stop trusting friendships. Instead, you track influence, which means you're ready for the next level, because brokers make money, but managers control territory. Level 4. The operator. The warehouse smells like oil and sea salt. 20 workers move crates across the concrete floor while forklifts hum under fluorescent lights. You stand above them in a glass office. This is your operation now. Level 4 means infrastructure. You control a supply line, 3 ports, 6 trucking companies, 2 shell corporations registered in Panama. Every week, shipments move through your network. Counterfeit pharmaceuticals, unregistered firearms, luxury cars with VIN numbers filed down. Everything flows through your routes. Your revenue averages $2 million a month. Not profit, revenue. You pay drivers, dock workers, inspectors, local police units that mysteriously stop patrolling certain areas. Loyalty here isn't emotional, it's financial. You run your territory like a business. Schedules, budgets, risk assessments. But the real lesson of Level 4 is discipline. Mistakes cascade downward. One driver talks too much, one customs agent gets ambitious, one shipment gets seized, and suddenly a dozen people are asking questions. You learn to solve problems quickly. Sometimes that means firing someone. Sometimes it means something worse. The first time a worker disappears after stealing inventory, you don't ask what happened, but you understand the message. Reputation protects the system. Fear protects reputation. Your nights become quieter. You stop going out. You stop explaining your job to anyone, because the deeper you go, the less language exists for what you do. After 3 years, your network expands across 2 continents. That's when someone above you finally notices. You receive an invitation. No details, just coordinates. You're about to meet the people who actually shape the empire. Level 5. The syndicate member. The meeting takes place on a yacht in international waters. 7 people sit around the table. Each one controls a network bigger than yours. Ports in South America, synthetic drug labs in Southeast Asia, counterfeit currency factories in Eastern Europe. This is the syndicate. Level 5. The place where the black market stops being chaotic and starts becoming organized. You're not here to ask permission. You're here to coordinate. Territories get negotiated, routes get shared, conflicts get resolved before they become wars. Every decision shifts millions of dollars, sometimes billions. You realize something strange. Nobody here raises their voice. Power at this level doesn't need volume. You begin overseeing regional operations. Instead of one supply chain, you manage several. Instead of 30 employees, you influence thousands. Your wealth crosses $80 million, most of it hidden inside shell companies and offshore trusts. But the psychological shift is deeper. You stop thinking in shipments, you think in markets. Which countries are destabilizing, which currencies are collapsing, where demand is rising. You guide the flow. Drugs into recession economies, weapons into civil conflicts, counterfeit currency into weak financial systems. You start shaping events. That realization sits heavy in your chest, because every decision echoes through lives you'll never see. Still, the system rewards results, and results bring authority. Authority brings enemies, which means the next level isn't about money anymore. It's about survival. Level 6. The Kingmaker. The phone rings constantly now. Politicians, generals, intelligence officers pretending they're not intelligence officers. You don't manage shipments anymore. You manage outcomes. Level 6 is political power. You control the money streams that fuel entire regions. Election campaigns funded through offshore accounts. Militia groups supplied through disguised humanitarian shipments. Entire governments quietly dependent on your syndicate's logistics. Your annual revenue influence passes $3 billion, but the numbers stop mattering. Influence becomes the real asset. A president wins re-election because your network funnels $200 million through shell donors. A military commander receives weapons shipments that never appear on official manifests. Borders shift, wars last longer, sanctions fail, and somewhere in the middle of it all, you sit in quiet conference rooms deciding which phone call to return first. The danger changes too. Law enforcement isn't your biggest threat anymore. Ambition is. Other power brokers want your seat. Some attempt partnerships. Others attempt assassinations. You hire private security teams made of former Special Forces soldiers. You change residences every 3 months. You travel on private jets under false manifests. Freedom begins shrinking, because the more control you gain, the more visible your shadow becomes. Eventually, the syndicate gives you a title, not official, but understood: architect. You're designing the future structure of the empire, but the architects answer to someone else, someone very few people ever meet. Level 7. The Council. The room is silent except for the ticking of a watch. 5 chairs, 5 people. This is the Council. They don't run operations, they define the rules of the system itself. Trade corridors, pricing agreements, conflict resolutions between entire criminal networks. You enter the room knowing something irreversible has happened. You're no longer part of the machine, you're part of its governing structure. At level 7, the black market becomes almost abstract. You oversee continents, billions in monthly transactions, thousands of operators who will never know your name. Your job is balance. Too much violence draws attention. Too little control creates chaos. You keep the ecosystem stable. Drugs, weapons, stolen data, human trafficking routes, counterfeit medicine, illegal mining operations. Everything moves through the invisible infrastructure the council protects. You notice something unsettling. None of the council members seem excited. They look tired, older than their years. Because at this level, the illusion disappears. The empire isn't glamorous. It's maintenance, constant pressure, constant secrecy. You haven't spoken to your family in years. Your real identity barely exists anymore. And the higher you climb, the fewer people remain beside you. Eventually, only one step remains, the one nobody talks about. Level 8. The Ghost. Your office overlooks a city that doesn't know you exist. From here, the entire network feels distant. Ports loading shipments, couriers crossing borders, brokers negotiating deals, operators managing warehouses. All of it flows through systems you designed decades ago. You're not officially in charge. That position doesn't exist. But everyone knows the truth. You built the architecture. Level 8 isn't power, it's permanence. Your wealth surpasses $2 billion, spread across identities that will never connect. Governments suspect you exist, but suspicion isn't proof. The council consults you quietly. When conflicts escalate, your word ends them, but you rarely speak. Because you understand something the lower levels don't. Control is temporary, systems endure, people fade. Sometimes you walk through crowded streets alone, wearing ordinary clothes. Nobody notices. That anonymity feels heavier than any luxury. You think about the first package you ever carried, how simple everything felt, how small the world was. Now the empire spans continents, currencies, governments, and yet the rules remain the same, invisible, unspoken, efficient. One evening, your security analyst sends a routine report. New recruitment activity in a port city. A young man completed his first delivery tonight. Small package, 2-hour deadline, paid $1,200. You close the file, because somewhere a runner is just starting. He thinks he understands the game. He doesn't, but he will.